Keith, what do you think of this? It's unusual to have such a sitting senator out there campaigning for a below-the-line vote for himself there. It raises, of course, the issue of disunity.
Oh, look, I come from business, Chris, where you value experience and competence. Jim is a senator. He's on the ticket. He's entitled to campaign. But I'm really focused on what I'm doing in Hinkler. And, mate, I've got to say, I noticed a story today from Anchor Smethurst in the Sunday papers talking about Labor's voters who are voting for the coalition for the first time. And, mate, I've certainly felt that on the pre-polls. I've certainly felt it on the hustings. They are out there. They just don't trust Bill Shorten at all. They know what he'll do to them and how much money he'll take from them, particularly our retirees. And it's been really strong, mate, really strong.
Yeah, the real complicating factor in Queensland and possibly Western Australia as well, and less so in other states, though, is, of course, the One Nation vote and the Clive Palmer vote. It's very high. On the latest polling, we saw close to 10% of the vote between the two of those. Now, that's created a lot of problems for the coalition over the past few years. It's why the primary vote's been so low. But it also means that if you get a primary vote of, 40%, you could possibly win on that if you get enough of the preference flows.
Look, that's true, but I guess in my seat, what I've found is that the amalgamation of the minor parties, independents, Greens and everything else has always been around 25% of the vote, rough and ready.
Wow.
That may change this election. But the choice is very stark. There is only one party that can stop Bill Shorten. It is the Liberal and National Coalition. No one else can stop Bill Shorten from becoming Prime Minister. If you are out voting for minor parties, you will get Bill Shorten as a result.
You've been very strong against One Nation, even though your own party leadership is preferencing them.
Well, look, I've got them above Labor as well. But, what do you do, Chris? It's like trying to choose between the petty criminal and the guy that's locked up for assault or got in a fight in the pub and the white-collar criminal and everyone else. You have to have someone on your how-to-vote card. They've got to be in some sort of order. The Greens, we will never support the Greens' propositions. They are against resources, agriculture, fisheries, everything that makes our economy strong. And you've got to put them somewhere. But the reality is they are our political competitors. Like everyone else that's on the ticket, they are looking to win seats and form government, and we are there to win. We are putting forward our plan for a stronger regional economy, for more local jobs. We've been very successful over the last 2 terms, and we want to continue that. It's not time to turn back.
Yeah, it's a fascinating election to look at. It is going to be close. I've always said it was going to be close, Jim Molan, partly because of what Labor's proposing, their big taxing, high-spending agenda and their past. Obviously, the coalition has done everything possible to convince people not to vote for them for the way they've carried on over the last couple of years in many respects. But what do you see as the big issues? I know you'd love it to be about, low taxes versus high taxes, or strong borders versus weak borders. But a lot of people, I was speaking to a senior Liberal today who says in Victoria that it seems to be all about climate change, and never mind the cost and never mind that Australia can't actually change the temperature of the planet. They seem to think that this is the emblematic issue.
I think that's quite true. I think for a lot of people this is an emblematic issue. It's a key issue for them. But that reflects a much more trusting and good-natured approach by Australians to an issue which they're being bamboozled over in a number of different ways. What we've done in our policy is we've balanced it very, very well. And we've balanced the needs of the economy against what some people say it is prudent to do for the needs of climate. Now, I thought today the launch that we had down in Sydney was very workmanlike. I think Scott Morrison covered everything. Jobs, taxes, economy, health, spoke about the economy, and even at the end of it, he spoke about safety and security. I think the one thing that we need to look at very, very closely, very, very soon, and that is the strategic situation. When we look across the world, we see a world which is in a very strange place. And I make the statement that, and our world, Australia's world, goes from the Gulf all the way across to the coast of America, across the Pacific, Indian, through the Gulf, all of those areas and up as far into China and Korea and Japan. I believe that's the sleeper that's not being addressed very much. We've got a good story to tell in that, and we tell it all the time, but I think the world is changing very fast.